welcome to another Tuesday Tone Tip. On today's video, I want to show you how you can use the new Integral Pre drive type. This is a model of the highly sought after TC Electronics integrated preamp. The integrated preamp is probably best known for its use in Meshuggah's guitar rigs. So if you're into extended range guitars or if you're into drop tunings, this can be used as an amazing tone shaping boost to tighten up high gain amps, but you can also use it as a great clean boost or as an enhancer for your guitar's core tone. We're going to start off with this 7-string Ernie Ball Music Man JP7 model. I am running it into the Integral Pre, which is currently bypass. Then I'm going into the Recto 1 Red model, a V30 IR that I made of a physical cabinet. This one is shared on Exchange if you want to try it out. And then we've got a little bit of gold plate reverb for some ambience. So the first use case here is we're going to use this Integral Pre essentially to remove a whole bunch of low end from the guitar signal and then boost the remaining signal into the front of the amp. So what we're going to do is we're going to hear the core amp tone. I'm mostly going to play on the low few strings here. I'm in drop G tuning at the moment. And then we're going to kick in the Integral Pre. It's going to sound like a pretty standard clean boost, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the bass down until you really start to hear this guitar sound tighten up. Then I'll turn the level up to get more drive and saturation. So we'll start with just the raw amp tone. That takes that slightly flubby bass heavy sound and it turns it into something absolutely brutal. It is so tight and aggressive, yet it's super controlled. And in the environment of the Axe FX3 at the moment with the input gate at its default settings, it's super quiet as well, which is awesome. So that's the classic use case for the integrated preamp. And you could really hear on there, you have to get the bass quite low if you're using an extended range guitar. This is obviously going to depend on the pickups that you're using and the overall voicing of the instrument. But I find with this one, you could almost start with the bass at 0 and just turn it up slightly until you get to that point where it's giving you just enough low end, but just enough clarity as well. And again, that sound isn't going to appeal to everybody. If you like more low end in your tones, run the bass above 1. I think of it like this. The bass is like a tight control in reverse. The lower the bass goes, the tighter things get. And then the treble control, it's like a bite or an attack control on there that is going to shape the mid-range and high frequency content on your guitar tone there. And then you've got the level control, which is just going to engage however much boost you want on there. So with that in mind, I'm going to swap to a guitar in drop C and I'm going to go over to a different amp model. This is a PRS SC245 with the stock pickups in drop C. I've switched over to this FAS Stealth Blue amp model. I'm using my free LTTV Mix 7 cab IR. This is my current live amp and cab combination on here. Let's have a listen to how the Integral Pre can enhance what's going on here. Like I was saying earlier, I'm actually going to start with the bass at 0 and I'm slowly going to turn it up to the point where I start to hear just a little bit too much low end out of my guitar. And I've got the level cranked. We'll start with a treble at around noon on there. Check it out. Now that underlying amp tone is a lot tighter and a lot more articulate than what I started with before, so I feel like I don't need to run the bass quite as low or the treble quite as high on there to get what I want, but basically it's giving me more of what I already liked about that sound. The bass control run around 1 is just tightening the overall sound up enough, and then that treble control you could hear on there, as I turned it up, I started to get this really clicky pick attack, which for this sort of sound, I personally didn't want in there, so that can be a good thing to listen out for. Listen for that click when you're playing really hard with your pick, and just dial the treble control a little bit back until that onset. That's such a great way to just dial in any effect. Dial it to the point where you find it annoying and go back about 10% from there. So that's using it in a high gain setup. I'm going to grab a Strat and a cleaner amp now, and this makes an amazing clean boost, again, to give you more of what you already like about your guitar sound. This is a stock Fender Player 2 Strat on the neck pickup combined with the ODS 100 clean amp model and an IR that I made of a Boogie cab with some EV speakers. We're going to use the integral pre in the opposite way we used it before. I'm going to boost some low end and use the treble control to take out some of that harsher attack from this guitar. Take that even further by taking the level all the way up on there. That's making this Strat sound so fat and enjoyable to play on there. You could combine the integral pre with other drives as well. For example, a great combo is a Strat, a clean amp, and a tube screamer. But again, we could use this integral pre on top of that to fatten up the sound coming out of the guitar into the tube screamer, into the clean amp. Let's try that. This is such a welcome addition to the family of drives on all the Fractal Audio products. I think you are really going to love it once you get it dialed in. Again, probably the most common usage is with drop tune 6-string guitars or extended range guitars as a sculpting tool for existing high gain amps. But as we've seen here, this can be a great alternative to your classic boosts or drives with strats or cleaner tones or anything in between. It's an amazing tone shaping tool. It's a little less daunting than using something like a parametric EQ because you can just stick to these 3 tuned controls on here and you can use it however you like. Again, that is the beauty of Fractal products. If you want to use this the way you used it in a traditional guitar rig, you can do that, or you can find brand new sounds that you've never heard before. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments section below. If you've got any requests for future Tuesday tone tips, let me know in the comments section below. Otherwise, have a great day and I will see you next week.